Welcome to Trauma, Healing, and the Child's Mind series. This journey was born from a powerful personal revelation, a mother's call to transform pain into purpose. We sincerely believe that even from the deepest wounds, wisdom can emerge. Through focused learning and nurturing, our expert team brings unique insights and powerful tools to help you shift your perspective and truly begin your healing journey. At Driven Livin', we're here to support you with resources like the Drive Collective, self-improvement courses, guided meditations, and journaling. If any part of this conversation triggers you, please find immediate professional resources listed in our description. This is our shared path to evolving our paths into wisdom together. I hope you enjoy the series. Transformative Trauma Healing, Holistic Therapies and Recovery with Dr. Cheri McDonald. Family trauma and complex PTSD can cast long shadows, but transformative healing is possible. Join me and Dr. Cheri McDonald, a trauma expert and holistic integration specialist. As we explore a path to wholeness, Dr. Cheri discusses her unique approach, Holistic Integral Therapy, HIT, which unites mind, body, and spirit for accelerated healing. She also discusses the effectiveness of hypnotherapy, EMDR, and other therapies for trauma recovery. Learn how to break free from destructive patterns, negative trauma shadows, and build a foundation for healthy connections. Welcome to the Wellness Driven Life Show, where you're about to go on a wellness-driven ride. Welcome, and let me share a little bit about the guests that we have with us today. Dr. Cheri McDonald is a trauma expert and holistic integration specialist with over 35 years of experience. She's a licensed marriage and family therapist, PATP, and certified life coach. Dr. Cheri developed Holistic Integral Therapy, HIT, a unique approach that unites body, mind, and spirit for transformative healing. She also incorporates hypnotherapy, EMDR, energy work, trauma-informed yoga, and IFS into her practice. I am so pleased to help welcome to our stage today, Dr. Cheri McDonald. Welcome.
I'm glad to be here. Thank you.
It's an absolute pleasure. Welcome to the Wellness Driven Life Show. Now, we are so excited and thrilled to bring this series to light because it is one of those topics that is very sensitive, but yet needs to be spoken about so everyone has a greater awareness of all of these things. So let's get started by sharing a little bit about yourself so the audience can get to know you more.
Great. As you said, I have been practicing therapy for, closer to 40 years now. And I have found through the years that the true healing happens from the inner healing intelligence. And so a lot of my navigation through the trainings, the specialties I've gathered up that is foundational to HIT is tapping into that inner healer and helping people recover, whether physically their own stem cells, whether emotionally repairing those fractures in the heart, whether, intellectually, that they can think and capture all that back.
I love that. And I couldn't agree with you more. I believe in that so much. We have our own spiritual, intellectual, physical aspects of driven living. And so absolutely, it starts within. And it's interesting how we have traumas throughout life and we do all these different things expecting outward, solutions, and it never really happens. And I think that once we really start understanding that it does come from within, once we start quieting the things and being able to create that inner healing, because we're quieting down, we're going within, and the body just naturally does so, then we have the greater awareness of, yes, this is it. This is how we recover, and we are able to then respond to life differently. What were some of the things that really came heavily to the forefront for you when you started understanding and having an awareness of this yourself?
Personally, I learned from my clients. I learned I remember one gentleman, and he was referred by an MD, and he just wasn't getting better from his physical condition. And it came to my mind that he needed hypnotherapy and hypnosis, and I didn't know what hypnosis was. And I did a deep dive, and that is actually where I got my PhD in, learning the unconscious realm and all the mechanics inside us that we're just this wonder and marvelous miracle that we can tap into and learn from, and that the healing doesn't come from the outside in; it comes from the inside out. And so that was where I started, and I have evolved into. From the 3-year-olds teaching me, that how to express their emotions, how to express what their body's experiencing, and then just so pure and authentic of being receptive to, oh, I can do this myself, and children are just great models, because they can tap into the creative imagination so easily, which is one of our greatest gifts in life. And as adults, we just put it aside and we forget about it. And they can pretend and make it real, and they know to make what real is in their highest best interest. They don't just make real what doesn't serve them. And so that wisdom that they model for us is what led me down this course.
Oh, no kidding. And we want to go back to childhood because that's where it all starts, right?
Right.
It's as if we're always trying to get back to that, but also understanding the child's mind at those early ages where they have that creative state, that creative play, that more tuned into self, that we utilize that understanding in order to heal ourselves as adults. It's a fascinating aspect and concept. And you're right, we don't go into the creative state enough, but that's exactly what you're doing when you start calming down, doing hypnotherapy, meditation, going within, all of those things. And so hypnotherapy is a beautiful thing. It's where we really get to reconstruct those inner workings of the mind on a subconscious level. And so tell us a little bit about exactly what happens when we start doing that and why it's the most effective.
Well, when we do tap in, we become connected with first the simplest things. We remember to breathe. And breath is so healing in of itself. When we practice breathing, we actually build muscles. We have these tiny muscles inside our body that get undernourished when we don't practice a good breathing, when we don't breathe. And so many people who come into my office that are in a trauma state, children including, they're not breathing. They're holding their breath a lot, or they're doing this little shallow breathing that anxiety causes us to do. And so when we tap in, we quiet ourselves down, we start with that breath, and then it takes us into our selves. It breaks through the barrier between the critical barrier between the conscious and unconscious. And when we recognize our unconscious is I think it's the most integrable part of our being. Our unconscious is based, that's where our core values are. And it reminds us of our fundamental core values, which is unique to each of us, right? We all have different core values. And so our uniqueness, our individuality is tapped into, and there's a remembering of the strength, but also the uniqueness of us. And rather than just going along as robots, it was so easy to go along as robots. And when we do it in hypnotherapy, is somewhat directed. It's not just daydreaming or dissociating that we kind of do driving on the freeway for 10 minutes and we forgot we were driving. That's kind of self-hypnosis behavior that we all engage in. But this is directed. We can direct it and tap it into our strengths, and then visit our pain in a very safe environment. You just kind of understand, oh, I'm in control here. It's not, and I can recreate, how I want to manage this, and I can put it where I want to put it. We don't necessarily, we're not looking to forget. Out of negative experiences, positive lessons can be learned and gained moving forward. We don't want to dismiss what happened to us because that would be chopping our right arm off, right? All our life matters, and but we want to put it in a where we're deciding what to learn from it. It's not controlling us. It's not unconsciously hitting us like a 2x4 in the back of the head and how we manage life on a day-to-day basis.
I love how you say that, where we get to control all of those things. When we start to have a different perspective on our past experiences, it's like you said, it's not something we want to forget. It's not that at all. It's the opposite, where you're transforming it into a different aspect, where we look back on those experiences with gratitude and know that if we hadn't had that experience, we wouldn't be the person, the incredibly beautiful human being that we are today. We get to utilize those experiences in how we maneuver life moving forward. And they come up in so many different ways once we've had that. And I also love that you brought up going into a safe space to do so. Nobody wants to rehash the past. And I think that is why so many people don't work on the healing, because it is painful. It's extraordinarily painful. We don't want to go there, but yet, because the body is a robot controlled by the mind, all of those thoughts and feelings are coming up to the surface without us knowing, and responding through life from those experiences. So it's an automatic thing no matter what we do. So what if we could go in there and change that? And that's exactly what you're saying. We get to go in there and change that in a safe environment with a professional. And I think that it's such a beautiful and brilliant thing. And not only that, but you can start doing it for yourself. And our minds, and tell me what you know about this, Dr. Cheri, is that when we listen to our own voice, if we record our own voice with those positive affirmations or any sort of scripts that may benefit us, it makes everything even more sticky.
Very much so. Again, that I think our own voice, a lot of times we don't even recognize what our own voice sounds like. If we listen to recorders, like I sound like that, but our inner healer, that's our inner healer's voice. And it's very familiar to us, and familiarity is safe. And it's when we, like I tell people a lot of times, journal and then wait for 3 weeks. After 3 weeks of journaling, go back to 3 weeks and read what you wrote. And you will read your wisdom. When you're writing, you don't realize what you're writing, but when you go back and read what you wrote, it's the wisdom, it just shines. And that's what happens when you record your own voice. Your wisdom comes through. It's the tone, it's the vibration, and also the familiarity. All those count. They tap into the somatic energy of the body, and I think the soul, as well as what we think, because we're used to we're talking to ourselves all the time. And so unfortunately, when we're not paying attention, a lot of times our self-talk is not positive. It's, if we talk that way to our friend, we wouldn't have a friend, and so, but when we're conscious of and feed ourselves with this positive, we listen, it really sticks. And it can also negate the negative.
Absolutely. I love that. And I really enjoy the aspect of you looking back on writings or the same thing as listening to your voice, because we get to say, wow, look how smart I am. Yes. Yes. Like you said, it's that inner wisdom. And what a beautiful and profound thing when we have that moment of self-recognition and self-love, because we can see that we are really this loving, beautiful energy being. And so we're going to move into our first commercial. Dr. Cheri, when we get back, we'll continue the conversation. Stay tuned.
Are you ready to take control of your ride to wellness? Rev up with Driven Living. Visit www.drivenliving.com and buckle up for a journey. Get exclusive access to our Wellness Driven Life Show guest portal, where you can dive deep into the minds of our esteemed guests. Sign up for our newsletter and get insider scoops on these distinguished personalities. It's like having a backstage pass to their life-changing wisdom. But that's not all. You'll also receive a free hug. You heard me right, a free hug. An enlightening ebook from the Driven Living team. Discover the science-backed benefits of hugging yourself. It's a fill-up for your wellness tank. Because at Driven Living, we believe in fueling your journey to wellness, both physically and psychologically. So what are you waiting for? Visit www.drivenliving.com today. Welcome back, everyone. Here with Dr. Cheri McDonald. Now, we have discussed so much already and given so many tips and tricks already about how to heal that inner dialogue of past traumas, right? And utilizing therapies such as hypnotherapy, writing activities, your personal voice to help give you some reaffirmations of how wonderful you are and that you are safe and loving and all of those things. And Dr. Cheri, I would love to know, because you've created this incredible system, these people that you have work for you to utilize all of these systems and different sorts of therapies that's a little bit outside of the box with the traditional, which I think is incredible because we need more and more of that. And so tell me, what got you started? How did you create what you've created now?
I guess I got started I felt drawn after going through, I think, 3 or 4 different majors in college that this is what I needed to be doing, and did private practice for a long time. And I've done enough private practice that is equivalent to 4 or 5 careers of private practice. I've seen a lot of people and done a lot of work, and so I realized, okay, I've done that, but this isn't enough. Talk therapy is great. I love it. It has its healing force, but it's not helping people enough to go outside those 4 walls and take it to where they have the confidence and they know how to tap into nurturing themselves. You know, there's, you know, your commercial about hugging ourselves. You know, I talk about that a lot. Not so much a hug feels good, and it's so somatically and intellectually how much it feeds us, but to get in touch with that nurturing part, that protector part that can really create your own setting of within yourself to continue the healing and grow in the healing and know that, okay, I can stand on my own 2 feet and I can do this and I can be my changed person. I don't have to be dependent on the outside in. And so I evolved to me really going, I needed, you know, I want to mentor other therapists. I want them to do it what I think is better than there's always better. Always strive for better. That's what I want for them. And then for myself, I am really branching off to alternative place to turn, which is intensive therapies. And this is where I'm getting, is where the hypnotherapy happens, the binary movements happen, the body movement happens, and also the psychedelic assisted therapies happen, because we need to let loose all parts of us, and sometimes we need more assistance in tapping into that unconscious realm and being able to maneuver and understand how that really works. Some people can't do the hypnosis because the anxiety is too high, the depression is too low, and sometimes the ketamine that's legal these days can get you there. And that's a kickstart. And also that's an avenue that I've just seen miracles happen from my eyes. I've had clients I've worked for years that, that change overnight. And it's just like, we're both looking at each other with wide-eyed, like amazed that all that depth and magic is inside of them. And they start teaching me very fast. And so the other thing is, I really want therapists to know that we're always learning. We're the students of our clients. And we need to keep a beginner's mind, because the client knows best.
I love that. We're always learning and we're always healing, right? The journey is not just a one and done. This is a constant practice because, life is difficult and we all experience
things differently. We perceive things differently. And based on that, maybe there's more work that needs to be done. And again, that continuous process of just being a better, more loving and healed human being. I love what you're doing. And I'm so pleased that you brought up some other therapy because you're right. It's funny, Dr. Cheri, because the first time that I went into a hypnotherapy session, they said the wrong thing, I feel, because I was in law enforcement at the time. And he says, well, cops can't go into hypnotherapy because they're too skeptic. And so, but there are things in life where, things such as ketamine works well for military first responders, because if the trauma is so extreme, you cannot get into a relaxed enough state. And so you're saying that this is something that we get to utilize as an assistant to help relax and be able to reach that inner mind and start healing process there. And I think that is absolutely a beautiful thing. There are so many different therapies and processes. So what are some of your favorites, or could you explain some of the other things that you like to do and offer for your clients?
I love EMDR, of course. I think that's a very popular modality, and I love the binary movement of it as a when I first learned it, I thought, oh, this is just another hypnosis technique. But science has shown that the brain waves in EMDR and the brain waves in hypnotherapy are completely different brain waves are used. It's more of a conscious, probably, trance than in hypnotherapy is a deeper trance. And so, but it does quiet the rational brain down and opens up the creative brain, which then this healing starts happening. You're able to clean out all the cobwebs in the neural paths and you start rewiring the brain. And that is, so I like to get some introduction into rewiring the brain and calming the nervous system down, and them having a tool, to go home and understand how to use the butterfly effect, and why they do that, not just do it, but understand what they're doing and feel it in their body and feel it in the changes. And as they do that, we get into parts work. I love IFS as well, and I love the healing process that I can expand on it. That in helping them create their own, their own blueprint in their healing path of how they use the parts work. How sometimes we create a whole new system of parts work if that works better for them. I'd like to use props, and I sometimes they bring their own props, to be able to have a visual and get on the ground and play like, as children. And we just map it out, and they have, this is like, oh, this is my blueprint. This is my map. And I see I'm going somewhere. And then we can go back and they can say, yes, I was here. Now I'm here. I did this. I responded this way before, but now I'm not dissociating in stores anymore. I'm actually smiling at people and looking at their eyes. And so those little milestones, become pattern changes. So now we're not just feeling better. We're changing the patterns. Now we're rewriting the brain. Again, we know neuroplasticity is really, a real thing. And so the medicines help, the neuroplasticity. It makes your mind go spongy and like a baby brain. And so in the right setting, which is so important because your brain is really open, like a dreamy baby, for that whole, by ketamine, 6 sessions, those whole 6 weeks, 2 to 6 weeks that you got, and more, that you got to be careful and responsible. So you're conscious all the time about self-care, which is beautiful. That's healing in itself. So those are some of the tools. And then we have the hypnotherapy in between. And we just grab whatever they need personally. I don't have it, and then my sessions tend to be as long as they need to be so they get well. And so we don't just have a 45-minute session. We may map it out and do what they need so that they have that roadmap solid, and they see, and the change is starting to happen, and they know how they're going to continue it when they walk out the door.
Oh, that's amazing. You do offer so much. Now, would you please share with us, where are your locations? Where are you located? Do you do remote, or what kind of offerings do you have for people to be able to access all of these tools and these sessions from you?
The primary residence our business is in Westlake Village, California. And then we also have Pasadena is another location that we, and then they were just opened at Beverly Hills. That will be in April. And so we're excited about that. They're all will be in person and remote throughout all of California. And beyond. And then we have, so this is all in California. And then we just had our first retreat. So I'll be offering more wellness retreats where people can get away and do the deeper work, in a setting where they can for over a few days. And so that they can accelerate, and accentuate what they feel, if that is what they need. And so those are some of the offerings we have.
Which is so much. My gosh, you have a total encompassing aspect of so many different things. I'm curious, before we move forward, I want to make sure everyone knows where to find you. For those of you viewing, you can see it on the screen here, displayed throughout the show. For those of you listening in, aplacetoturn.com. Visit her sites and check out what all they have to offer if this is something that you're interested in. And I know that I'm interested in it because I love talking about these things and offering these different sort of holistic therapies. So that said, Cheri, what are some of the things that you do for yourself? Because when we talk about, working with other people and working around people that have extraordinary traumas and all of those things, sometimes it can be easy to take that in and be difficult for us or for those people who are working with them. And I'm sure you have a great understanding of that as a therapist. What are some of the things that you do on a daily basis? And I'm also bringing this up too, because I do feel that many people who have had extreme traumas and start to go on that path of self-healing, they go into professions and fields that because they want to serve and help others. So do you have some tricks for yourself that you can offer to the audience to do on a daily basis?
Yes, I feel real strongly about daily self-care and daily self-discovery and daily self-play. And so I have learned that we heal more quickly and more permanently through symbols and rituals. And so I have a morning ritual, it's a meditation, prayer, music. I have my singing bowl, my gong, and I spend, a good time there just getting in touch with me, loving me, and getting insight and inspiration where I prepare for my day. I exercise every day because I just sustain my body, to be aware, to be healthy. My daily practice, I eat healthy. It's important to me. I don't abuse substances. That's important to me. And so all those are really aware of, and then I touch base with my loved ones on a daily basis. So those are some of the ways I for my self-care.
I love that.
That
Thank you so much. You have brought so much already to the audience today, Dr. Cheri McDonald. What is there anything else that you want to share with our audience today?
I just want everyone to really, the challenge is that everyone takes a moment just to tap into their heart and actually put our hands on our heart, and feel I feel like our palms are healing, are just like healing vortexes in our bodies. And we put our palm into our heart, and our heart is our master brain, and the magnetic force, is 5,000 times more than the head brain. And just feel the love that comes from the heart and try to quiet the fear down. I've always believed that the heart carries the fear and it carries the love, not simultaneously, that one or the other. So tap into that love. It will override any fears that we have, and we can remember our strength.
Oh, beautifully said. Thank you so much. I couldn't have said that better. That is really beautifully said. I agree with you. Thank you again for being a guest on the Wellness Driven Life Show. Again, to our audience, you can find a place to turn link in the description below. Dr. Cheri, thank you so much for being our guest.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
It's an honor.
Thank you to our audience, because without you, the show wouldn't be possible. So goodbye for now, and we will see you next time.
I'm hoping this mask